Today we're going to go way beyond the typical story of a hero versus a villain. We're diving deep into a fundamental, almost mythological debate between two forces that, you could argue, define existence itself. It's the pull of perfect, static order versus the relentless, chaotic dance of freedom.
I mean, think about that for a second. What if the villain's goal was to save you? It's a fascinating question, right? Because it completely reframes the entire conflict. If we just forget good versus evil for a moment, what we're really seeing is a battle between two different visions of salvation. One offered by the hero, and, well, one offered by something else entirely.
So, let's begin with Act 1. This is where we meet our antagonist and really get to the bottom of everything he does. We're going to uncover his core philosophy, something he calls the gospel of gravity.
So let's meet the Faustbusch Übermensch. Yeah, that name itself, it kind of hints at a deal with the devil for ultimate knowledge, and honestly, in a way, that's what he represents. He is not your typical villain out for destruction. No, he sees himself as a necessary counterpoint, a cold, rational anchor against the hero's emotional chaos. He's a monument, a preserver, the intellectual shadow to the hero's fleeting light.
This quote really reveals his cynical worldview. He looks at the hero's journey not as some grand triumph, but as a carefully constructed piece of PR, something designed to hide weakness. He believes he's the only one willing to look at the unvarnished, uncomfortable truth of it all.
So you see, his motivation isn't malice. It's what he sees as necessity. In his mind, the hero represents this dangerous obsession with change, a force that just dissolves meaning into nothing. He exists to provide gravity, to hold things down before they completely fly apart.
And this right here is his core philosophy in action. It's heavily inspired by Nietzsche, and he basically flips the whole idea of tradition on its head. He argues it's not some weight that holds you back. Oh no, it's an anchor that saves you from being swept away by the meaningless chaos of life. It's all about finding stability in the storm. And that is the crucial point. He completely rejects the hero's constant striving, this endless, messy process of becoming something new. For the Übermensch, perfection is found in being, a single, flawless, unchanging state. That's salvation to him.
All right, let's move on to Act 2. This is where these two philosophies collide head-on. It's the dynamic, ever-changing dance of the hero against the static, eternal monument of the Übermensch.
See, he doesn't offer chains, he offers a sanctuary. He calls it a gilded cage, and it's meant to protect the hero's soul from what he sees as the rot of constant change. The price? Well, the trade-off is freedom, which to him is a small price to pay for eternal peace and stability.
And right here, the conflict is just laid bare. For the Übermensch, it's all about being, stability, and order. And to him, change is just a form of decay. But for the hero, it's all about becoming freedom and chaos, because that's the only source of growth. I mean, they're speaking two completely different languages.
And from his perspective, he just sees the hero as a destructive force, turning the gold of a perfect moment into the worthless lead of something common and fleeting. The hero's joy is a sickness, a fool's gospel. Because for the Übermensch, look, if it isn't permanent, it just isn't progress. Simple as that. So this is his ultimate goal. It's not to kill the hero, but to save him in the only way he knows how. To freeze him, to crystallize him into a single, perfect, eternal moment. Basically to stop the dance and make him part of the monument.
Which brings us to Act 3. Now, from our perspective, the hero wins, right? But from the Übermensch's point of view, what happens next isn't defeat. Oh no, it's a kind of horrifying, tragic integration.
Get this. He never admits his philosophy was wrong. Instead, he claims his perfect, cold logic was contaminated. It was spoiled by the one variable he couldn't account for, the messy, chaotic, warm rationality of the hero's humanity. He even analyzes his own downfall clinically, like a scientist, breaking it down into this three-step process. It starts with a moment of brutal truth, terminal honesty, followed by a violent clash, and it ends with this bizarre, alchemical merging of their two opposing forces. He sees this as the ultimate tragedy. His pure, stable, logical self was invaded by warmth, by chaos, by flaws. He was forced to absorb the very thing he was trying to save the hero from in the first place.
And that's his final, chilling assessment. He isn't gone. He's now a permanent part of the hero. The anchor is now inside the dancer, an inescapable weight that the hero is now forced to carry forever.
And now for the final act, where the Übermensch turns his entire philosophical debate away from the hero and points it directly at us.
So he presents us with a choice, a really tough one. Would you accept the safety, the stability, and the truth of a gilded cage, or would you choose the absolute freedom of a chaotic, maybe even meaningless void? Yeah, there's no easy answer here, is there?
His philosophy becomes a mirror. It forces us to look inward and ask ourselves, what is the nature of the weight that we all feel? You know, the weight of tradition, of responsibility, of history. Is it holding us down, or is it the only thing holding us together?
And this is his parting shot. He argues that the hero's optimism, his ability to just dance in the face of meaninglessness, that's not strength. He says it's ignorance. It's a refusal to acknowledge the terrifying truth of existence that he so desperately wants to protect us from.
So ultimately, we are left with the fundamental choice that he presents. Do we embrace the chaotic, impermanent dance of life, or do we seek out the anchor of order, even if it comes at the cost of our freedom? And that is the question he leaves us with. That feeling of gravity in your own life, all the traditions, the history, the responsibilities that you carry. Is it a burden holding you down, or is it an anchor saving you from the storm?